Hello there and welcome back, fans of Broodwar. This is going to be a somewhat longer video because this guy in bottom right, BTS, has been getting a lot of games with pro players recently. I've got something of a library going for him right now, and I begrudgingly made a folder in my replays labeled BTS. Not much of a K-pop fan personally, much more of a fan of their television than their music, but well, of course Starcraft as well. I guess that goes under television, perhaps. Was on TV for quite a long time. Maybe can rest in the same category, but I digress, guys. We've got BTS here. He's going to be going up against JYJ down in the bottom left. I got 2 games versus JYJ. I've got some games versus Rush, game versus Shiny, and I think 1 or 2 more games besides that. So this should be an interesting series. I don't know if I'll end up casting all of these to put them into the video, but probably, let's be honest, probably it's going to go that way. This is some great micro with the first initial drone. Oh my gosh. So close. Is he going to get that kill? JYJ really keeping on top of this, pulling off multiple drones to try and push this back. Gonna pull off 5 drones, in fact 6 drones total, because he expects something crazy with 2 SCVs showing up at his door. He's going to be expecting a bunker rush. It's not an 8 racks. Just a 1 racks fast expand, so the Marine is finally going to come across the map. However, Lings are already in production, so this shouldn't go any further. 2 sets of Lings will easily hold back all of this. We're going to get back into normal mining now. So BTS, we talk a little bit about him before we get into any more action. He is not a player who is currently competing in SSL. He is just a ladder monster. Pretty out of control recently. I'll bring up his overall rank online, or his ladder rank in the next game. Finally gonna track down that SCV. I didn't pull it up beforehand. The layer on the way in the natural. Throwing that down to kind of confuse the timings for JYJ. You should assume that there is a layer already on the way. That would be a little bit strange not to build a layer at this point. He would have been had to have been thrown off a lot, and he truly wasn't thrown off that much, right? Only, oh gosh, these Lings going down is actually horrible. He was thrown off a bit by having to pull some drones, but he didn't lose any drones critically, so he is going to be fine. He's going to be okay. He's got the Spire on the way. He still has 2 Lings to check on these Marines. And what is the follow-up from JYJ? I don't even see. Wait, that's the Academy coming up now? That seems a little bit off. Slightly off. Actually, you know what? Looking at the timer, it's just going to be, you know, about 10-15 seconds behind where it should be. Oh gosh, the Overlord going in. That would be a brutal time to be losing an Overlord, but it's not going to happen. He's going to keep that alive. Yeah, it should be moving out around 450 with this style of 2 racks, but doesn't quite have the Academy done in time, and so he'll be a little bit slower, but he'll have a lot more Marines. You can see he's got 11 Marines and 2 medics to possibly move out with. He starts 1 fire bat. I was expecting 2, but there it is. Gonna get 1 fire bat out anyway. The scan comes down. Let's see what he sees. No sunken colonies at the natural, which you can't really survive this without any sunken colonies, I think. You can only build a maximum of 6 mutas, and 6 mutas is not enough to stop 11 stimmed Marines, so you really do need something more than that. 1 sunken colony going to start. Relying on only 1 sunken colony is a little bit crazy. We'll see if he can pull it off. The mutas are going to be popping out. Oof, great kill there on that 1 SCV. Yeah, sunken colony's not even going to finish in time. Oh my god, this is bad. A lot of drones are going to start to go down here. JYJ hitting a very nice timing. He double stimmed, though. That is something to take into consideration. Double stim is going to eat up a lot of this medic energy and keep a lot of these Marines at low HP. Coming back in again and again with 5 mutas. If he loses one of these, he's not going to be able to one-shot anymore, and that's, I think, lights out. He will end up losing the layer in that case, so he's got to go back in. Oh, one more. Now he's got 6 mutas. He can afford to lose 1, so going back in is a good idea. Going in to try and finish this off. The target onto the layer is not good enough. The layer survives. 210 HP. Oh boy, I can feel that. That is scary. Very scary for BTS, but he's managed to hang in there. And that's what truly matters. Keeping that hatchery alive, even at 1 HP, will allow you to continue to mine from that position and keep your lifeline. Give you a lifeline in this game, excuse me. More mutas popping out now, and the third base is operational. Third gas is going to come online in a moment. There was quite a hiccup to the incoming resources for BTS, but he did pull the drones fast enough to save the majority of them, which is actually pretty significant in this position. Now the factory should be started. There it is. Factory is on the way. JYJ gonna start this transition in a moment. Some SCV damage, but he can't stay here for too long. The bioforces are on the way across the map, and although you can stay longer on this map than on most others, due to the fact that you can very quickly move from your opponent's natural back to your own natural to defend, I think he might have misjudged this. And yeah, he missed this move out, and the Marines are going to come sprinting into this natural. He's going to lose the hatchery for sure now. The layer critically will end up going down. That means no incoming hive either. The hive is going to be super late. Oh, he's going to target it. He's going to target it. Ah, he gets it. He kills the layer. Just barely, though, as the mutas came in. More Marines heading up towards top right. This is some great play from JYJ, realizing, hey, you've just taken a lot of damage. You're going to be looking for a big counter. If 2 Marines head into this base in the top right, that could just end the game. And indeed, that will probably end up ending this game. Diving on top of the turrets. Now on top of the Marines as well. There's nothing in the bunker, so he takes over the barracks area. This is a big deal. Is he actually going to be able to win this game by just holding down the production of JYJ? JYJ only has 2 Marines on the map, guys. 2! That is it. He has no other Marines, and he can't get any into this bunker. Oh god, just gotta target down those Marines. Those Marines cannot be allowed to escape. He does get in there and targets that down. More mutas are coming across the map, but they're just flying right through the turrets, unfortunately, taking a lot of damage. You can see this one's actually going to die. You cannot be losing mutas at this point. This is far worse than, you know, if he was 2 hatch mutating, because he's only got 1 hatchery back at home. 1 hatchery only. And somehow he seems to be doing it right now. These mutas are going to get in there. The bunker gets filled up with those 2 Marines that went out on the field and killed nearly every drone. Diving in now. He made a Goliath to try and hold on, but there are only 2 turrets. A 3rd turret comes up. Oh god, the surround on that is pretty good. The Valkyrie will end up going down. The Valkyrie popping out is actually super big, but there's so many mutas left over. I think he's going to be able to break this. No, the 1 turret manages to survive. This is insane, guys. He's now on top of the starport, diving on top of this Goliath one more time. Can he just kill all the SCVs and then go after the turret? The mutas are over top of the turret, so he can't actually repair. He's gonna have to pull everything to the natural, but that means it's just 1 base versus 1 base. However, with the production being shut down in this main and there's no barracks left, maybe this is still a win for BTS. It's going to be super close. This base did manage to survive, but there's no drones over at that position. It's just pure macro, but he's sending in mutas to their death. That's so bad. Oh my goodness, he's focusing too much on these mutas. And he's let a lot of lings try to run by the bunker as well. An overlord gonna fly in too. That supply blocks him. Oh my gosh, he truly is a poor Zerg now. Truly. A poor Zerg indeed. No money left for this guy. He throws some money into a Carapace upgrade, but I don't know if this game will ever get to that point. That seems ridiculous to me that we would ever see that Carapace finish before this game is over, especially if he's not going to build drones and just continues to build lings. I think he's going to dive the bunker, guys. I think that's what we're about to see. The bunker is going to be dived any moment now. Some scans went out. I think he knows that this is like one last ditch effort. 6 drone start. No. He's going to go and transfer. He's going to... Oh my gosh, he's actually going to try and play out of this game. This is one of the most insane games I have ever seen. The natural goes down, the layer dies. Every drone lost at the 3rd base, and he's still managed to bring this one back somehow with just overwhelming Mutalist forces. If there had been a few more turrets built in this main base, if JYJ had taken it a bit more seriously, I mean, I think he could have held this on. He might have also flown his barracks out. If he just floated his barracks over to the other turrets, maybe he could have saved some of those and got his production back online a little bit sooner. But BTS is now going to have quite a bit of time where nothing can be built. Where are you even going to build supply depots in this base? I guess he can fit 2 supply depots in that corner, which is crazy. Actually opening up enough supply to build something. But he only has 2 barracks to build off of. There's so little space in this natural. This is the most compact base I've ever seen in my life. This is like a Japanese house with how compact. This is like a Tokyo apartment, guys. With how much he's shoved into such a small square footage, it's ridiculous. BTS, on the other hand, has all the space in the world. He's throwing down more hatcheries. He's got his Hydros down on the way and armor coming up as well. Imagine if he hadn't built all these lings, these extra lings, and had just got into drones a little bit sooner. He would have been so much better off. But in the end, these lings may end up coming in handy. The marine count is super low, and so this is prohibiting JYJ from moving out at all. He just can't move out. Those lings and mutas will absolutely crush this force. And so he has to wait a bit longer. And in fact, that armor will come into play, guys. That's so funny. Armor is almost done. And so for this next fight, his mutas will be 1-1. Crazy. So crazy. There's only +1 attack on these Marines. And I think this force is going to get absolutely crushed. Some sunken colonies coming down just in case the worst should happen. JYJ gonna lose one of his Valkyries before even firing a shot there. Now some more Scourge coming in as well. More Lings, more Mutas being made, more Scourge being made as well. He's gonna go in now, finally diving. The Valkyries go down so quickly, and there it is. GG, everything gets cleaned up. What an incredible game to start this series out. BTS takes down JYJ. An incredible first match, but I want to reel in your guys' expectations for a moment. Certainly, we couldn't have another game quite like that for the rest of this series, no doubt. Especially for this next game versus JYJ. He's setting up once again with the 1-Rax fast expand, so we'll just take a breath. Whew, and get ready for something of a more normal ZVT. Well, I guess that wasn't completely out of the ordinary. Just the fact that the natural was lost in such an all-in to the main base ended up working for BTS was pretty crazy. Now, in this match, we're going to be playing Deja Vu, which is a 4-player map. that only has the main bases on high ground, so there's not great locations to set up a Zerg defense aside from these other mains. A lot of players are going to opt for the natural in either top right or top left as their third base. But I've also seen a lot of players take this as their third and try to utilize that base, that third gas, to go directly into Hydralisk Defiler. And I think that's a pretty strong play on this map. If you're able to push along this axis, it's a pretty straightforward push to get over towards the Terran natural. The only problem is tanks can be really strong on this map. You've got a great high ground over the natural. There's also a lot of ridges that can be utilized. Very good spaces for tanks to camp out. Like right here is amazing. An amazing position. So hard to push your Hydralisk army out and get on top of that spot. We saw a drone go down just a moment ago, so already -1 drone for BTS, but he's building a few extra lings, and so this small group of 4 Marines might end up getting worked over. Ooh, he's gonna lose 1 ling, it looks like, before the engagement ever happens, and that could be very painful. No panic lings from BTS. You gotta respect it. Seeing Marines that close to your natural, and enough of them to actually fight your lings, especially after almost losing 1 ling, it's pretty hard not to just build a bunch more to try and deal with these Marines and just keep yourself safe. Instead, he's going to run all the way around and maybe catch on to one of these Marines. Great snipe there. Excellent snipe. He's going to be able to run by into the main base. The SCVs are pulled, but it's not in time. That is for sure. He's drawing everything back, and he's doing this all with just 4 lings, which is absolutely amazing for BTS. He is in a fantastic position against this ASL champion. JYJ, no pushover at all, has already lost a game. We'll see if he can clean things up in game number 2. He does clean up the lings in his main, but I'm already feeling this a bit for BTS. He didn't have to build any sunken colony. He didn't have to overbuild lings. He was able to get his drone saturation up very early. He still hasn't overplayed his hand with lings yet. 5-minute mark is here, and he's not ready to push out, even though this is a academy rush. Generally, like 450 is when the pro players will push out with this kind of attack. And look, he's even got less Marines than that last game. He's only got 8 Marines, where last game he had 11 pushing out at the same time. So he's been thrown off a little bit, for sure. And BTS will not have to build a sunken colony this time. He can just go straight into his Mutalisk production and send a drone out to take his third if he so chooses. Sitting here on only 20 drones, but he's got a pretty good saturation overall. A little bit less than full saturation in the main, but that's fine. Not mining one of the worst patches in the main. Might actually be a little bit better for the overall economy. Gets a couple of SCVs so far. 2 only, though. Ling's going to sprint in. Sees that the bunker doesn't have anything in it. Snipe this SCV, that's for sure. So that's 3 overall. If you get 5 SCVs as a Zerg player here, I think you're feeling very good. Has not sent out a drone yet. There it is. It's going on its way. A little bit slow as the mineral number is getting kind of high. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Without losing a single Mutalisk. Beautifully done. It's exactly the way you want to play it. And now going to back away. I gotta say, BTS is on another level right now. He's looking very good. This is not what I expect out of our K-pop idol. He does seem to be playing at a bit of a higher tilt than usual, which is always awesome to see. Now diving into the main base, and he's forcing JYJ back. JYJ is going to try and surround this. Let's see if he can get the Marines into an angle where the mutas can't escape easily. I think this is still okay. He loses a few mutalisks. All right, this is quite a bit of damage, but he's managed to lower that SCV count. And is going to be feeling good about his macro position. When will the transition happen, though? We also need to pull back these overlords. Really important that we don't allow them to just sit out in the front in the rally point and be fodder for the Marine move out a little bit later on. Yeah, he's going to start to pull those back now. And so they will likely be okay going forward. Just one Marine in the bunker means that diving on these turrets with Lings and Mutas is fantastic. Like he loses one Muta and the majority of the Lings. There's the other Muta. So 2 Mutas go down. But clearing out almost all the turrets is awesome. Those will have to be rebuilt. And it's going to take some time. Marines starting to move now, and BTS will have to engage with this force. Fighting up the ramp. An extra stim means a lot of these Marines are quite low, and he's been stimming back and forth quite a bit as well. So the medics are getting a little bit short on energy. Gotta charge up their batteries. This one, see, hardly any energy on that at all. Not going to be very useful in this upcoming fight. Another stim's forced out, and things are getting a little bit dire in terms of that energy now. If he forces another stim before the next engagement, it's going to be that much easier for BTS to clean this up. He might be able to get over to the natural before the next stim. Okay. Has arrived. Mutalisks are 11 in number. The sunken colonies are a little bit slow here in the natural. He's just about to start this creep colony into a sunken. Not the greatest engage here from BTS, and JYJ is punching through. I tell you, if those 2 sunken colonies had been finished, it would have been a completely different story. But since they weren't done in time, the reinforcements are going to make their way into this natural, and BTS, who looked to be playing an excellent game, unfortunately skimping on the defenses, is going to be knocked out as the last few mutalisks fall. GG is called, and JYJ gets his revenge. A little 2-game series between Rush and BTS is coming up next, with Rush spawning in the top right-hand corner here on Kickback. Seems that BTS wants to grab his 11 hatchery. Interesting. 12 is the standard. It's especially interesting to take the drone after the hatch. Going back up to 11. Usually if you want to buy an 11 hatchery, I think most players will opt to build their spawning pool on 10. They can get the spawning pool out a little bit sooner. But he goes for 11 hatchery, builds a drone, builds an 11 pool, and then a 10 gas. And so it's looking like a pretty normal 2 base, except with the slightly faster hatchery. It's pretty common for Terran players to do some wacky stuff on this map, and in fact he is going to start something a little bit crazy. You can see BTS scouted the middle, but he missed this factory. Actually, I think he went past it and hasn't seen it. Otherwise he would definitely be hitting this SCV. So barely missing out on the scout for this factory. He definitely won't go back to scout what he already scouted. And look at how much time he's spending in the middle of the map just looking for something from Rush. Yeah, it's become super common for Terran players to do wacky stuff on this map. He spots it. There it is. He sees it. Start that sunken colony, boy. Gotta start it fast. Oh, the block. Oof. Just barely not able to block. That would have been critical. had he managed to block that. The Vulture would have gotten in for sure. As it stands, I still think the Vulture's going to get in. He's holding a drone out to try and help block this from getting past. 4 Lings and a bunch of drones. Can he block this? Okay. Good so far. Send the drones back to mining now. He's still got quite a few Lings. Doesn't have Ling speed or anything. I'd love to see him build a burrow. To upgrade burrow right now would be fantastic. Double starport afterwards. I'm gonna get 2 vultures. No vulture speed, and he's actually forgetting these SCVs, which is hilarious. These SCVs. Oh god, the run by. Okay, 1 vulture went down. He's got to block behind the mineral patches. He has to block behind the mineral patches now. Can he actually do it? He is doing it. He's blocking. And he manages to cut down that vulture. Excellent stuff for BTS. Getting rid of those 2 vultures early on. And not taking any drone losses either. He's got a healthy drone count. He hasn't upgraded burrow, which is really hurting me. I feel like it's so necessary in the game state and the current meta to just get that upgrade immediately when you see a 1-1-1 style of play. And now that he knows it's 2 starport, he's gonna start making creep colonies to try and keep this alive. Keep some of those drones alive. Overlord gonna go down. Not supply blocking him though for the moment. Another creep colony has to be made. He cancels the creep colony though before. Oh gosh, he's gonna lose that drone as well. 2 drones go down. A 3rd drone falls. Start to lose some mining time. 4 drones have gone down. You could completely negate all of this by just having burrow. When will they ever learn? BTS. Disappointing me. Still not starting burrow. He's just gonna make a bunch of mutas, I think, and try to go. I think that's what we're gonna see. A lot of mutas made, and as soon as Overlord speed is done, he is gonna go across the map and try to kill. However, I don't see Rush taking a base anytime soon. He's gonna start to build a bunch of turrets and get ready for some harassment with Cloak. He's not getting greedy after dealing that damage and getting those kills. Instead, he's very intent on just getting into a massive Wraith number and having the turrets to deal with any sort of counterattack. Pure Mutalist production on the side of BTS. His supply is looking very good. The supplies can be deceiving. Gonna pull all the overlords together because he needs them just in case one gets gunned down. He won't lose every muta to the Wraith chase. And bring this overlord over as well. It's not really doing anything for him there, but giving him information. If the Wraiths decide to head out in this direction, he will know about it. BTS thinking about taking this engage. So far he's got, you know, 6 mutas, 2 Scourge, a few extra mutas going to be popping out in a moment. He's just continuing to only build mutas. Carapace can be afforded now, so gonna mix that in. Would be very useful if Rush decides to transition into a Valkyrie, and there it is, Valkyrie on the way. So good call by BTS, deciding to grab that. And you know, I kind of like this map for the positioning. For the position of BTS, he can easily take his 3rd base without too much trouble. It's not like he has to sneak out on the map and take that and risk losing drones to a vulture or 2. Oh, I would love to see him dive on that. Where's the Scourge, actually? Oh my gosh, he's getting the moving shot. The moving shot is looking good. Oh man, the overlords come over to help, but they just get immediately eliminated. Some more Scourge gonna come out to play, but I think they'll just be targeted down as well. Okay, he gets the Valkyrie at least, but the moving shot on these Wraiths is going to be huge. Oh my gosh, so much damage on these mutas. But he will return a bit of that damage now as the overlords come into range. Not very many mutas left over. Not very many wraiths either. JYJ staying and just fighting this for a little bit too long, I feel. He really had the upper hand there for a moment. If he'd backed off and waited for this extra Valkyrie, he probably could have won this pretty handily, but now he's only got 2 wraiths remaining, and remember, he's only on 1 base. He can't really reproduce this stuff. Whereas BTS sitting here, he can definitely keep making mutas, no problem. Lots more mutas are going to be popping out soon. That wraith number not easily replenished. And so a explosion of barracks will begin for Rush. 1 Valkyrie, 1 wraith at a time. Going to be pumped out. Very expensive units though. Cannot afford to be letting any of those go down. Already lost 1 to a Scourge, and I think he took the better end of that trade overall, but you really do have to be careful with those units. Get the absolute maximum value out of them possible. He's repaired up all of his wraiths, but you can see not that many. If there's some good Scourge connections on the Valkyries, then this group of mutas could absolutely take the fight and win against these wraiths. Now coming in and taking the fight. Oh, this is not looking good for BTS. 3 Valkyries are actually doing massive work, killing off a ton of these mutas, and now the muta number is so low. He's trying to kill that one last Valkyrie, but he's not able to do it. In fact, getting pushed all the way back. The Overlord's nearly going down there as well. Mutas are brutally damaged. And so this has been overall better, I think, done by JYJ, but is it going to be enough? Can he actually save this base? He's been so light on the turrets, man. The turret number is incredibly low. He really wants to get this Bioforce out so he can start to pressure on the map. But I don't even think that's going to be such a big factor. Would be nice to see an evolution chamber thrown down, I think, by BTS, rather than just continuously making mutas. Get into an evolution chamber. Eventually you can tech switch into Ultra. This is a great map for Ultralisk. Of course, he's used so much gas already. The natural is starting to run low on that resource. We gotta be careful with that. Dives in, kills another Valkyrie. Big kill there without taking too much damage on this group of Mutalisks. Hard to micro the Valkyries in with the Wraiths. Kind of have to micro them separately because the micro is definitely a lot different. But JYJ not able to do that right now. That is a big ask. Controlling your Marines and Medics and also your Wraiths and your Valkyries all at the same time with different micro. It's pretty tough. And so he's going to get the catch-all solution now to his problem, which is the all-important Science Vessel. Once that Irradiate is online, things are going to change heavily into JYJ's favor, but for the moment, there is a presence, a pressure that these Mutalisks are putting on JYJ and giving BTS a little bit of breathing room, but the Marine number has gotten a bit too high, I guess. Oh, 2 more Valkyries go down, but at the cost of a lot of mutas. Trying to dive in, trying to get another Valkyrie there with another pair of Scourge, but the muta number is very low. There's only 1 sunken colony. I think that BTS has botched this. He was looking at that Marine number and not giving it enough credence there, and he taps out. GG is called. Rather than building a bunch of sunken colonies to keep himself alive, he banks on the fact that he could keep the Marines busy long enough to get lurkers out. The gamble did not pay off, and Rush sprints into the natural, taking away game number 1. That was kind of a fun match. I do like kickback for ZVT. I feel that It gives us some very interesting games now that people have figured out it's not really possible to do bio on that map because Crazy Zerg is so strong there. I feel like having the Terran players go 1-1-1 or kind of forced to go 1-1-1 every game makes it very interesting. Maybe not for the Terran players, maybe they're annoyed by it, and I think that's not exactly the outcome that the map makers were looking for. I don't think they planned to make a map that was prohibitory or was prohibiting Terran players from going bio, but it's interesting that that's the way that it turned out, and I like to see Terran players forced to innovate a little bit, to try something new. Now, Rush on Pantheon will not need to do the same sort of wacky play. There's no way he's going to do 2-port Wraith again, right? Certainly not. Not with his CC already started. It's likely going to be a 1 Rax fast expand. No wall in though, as it is a bit tougher to wall in on this map. You can still put a barracks supply depot and it works pretty well. There's quite a big gap on either side of your barracks. Right, there's a big gap there, and then there's a 2 marine wide gap on the left hand side, but it's better than nothing. If your opponent wants to do some early lane aggression, it's nice to have. Of course, it can just sink you if you end up getting caught completely off guard. You lose those buildings in the front. Things can get extremely bad, but I digress. We're getting into this game with BTS grabbing his lair. What kind of game does BTS want to play this time? I really liked his 2-hatch Muta play. I felt that it was quite Soma-esque. The amount of damage that he was getting and the way that he was controlling his mutas. The only thing that was off from my perspective was rallying through the opponent's turret line into their base. You really need to rally to another location that's close to the main, because you want to, of course, reinforce, but not so close that you're going to end up losing a bunch of units if you're ever not paying attention just for a second. And so the Spire will be on the way. It's coming up now. This time the Academy is done on time, and the push out is coming at the 4-minute 50 mark. So this is a very pro level timing. Hard to get 8 Marines, 2 medics with stim pushing out 4-minute 50. Stim's not quite done yet, but that's right around the time it should be at. 2 fire bats to follow up, deal with these lings as they come forward and get an SCV. Nicely done there. Fire bats falling back just slightly. Buying a little bit of time. This time, BTS did commit fully to the double sunken colony, so he's not going to be broken. He's not going to run that very close tightrope, that fine line that he has in previous games. Keeping it nice and safe here, and for good reason. That was a well-timed move out from Rush, although the turrets are looking a little bit less well-timed. In fact, gonna get a few kills before the turrets all finish up. I think about 3 kills have gone down so far. 1 Muta's almost dead. Pulling that out of the stack would be a good idea, but wants to rotate. Head towards the main, rush on top of that. Gonna stop him from easily rotating to the main. And we'll also open up a pathway for these firebats to escape out onto the map. Firebats can be extremely deadly. Coming in with the Lings now into the natural. This is a great play from BTS going after the missile turrets. These are actually blocking the SCVs a little bit from getting on top and also adding their DPS into picking off these missile turrets. This is fantastic stuff. He's getting so many kills on these SCVs, and he's done it with style. That's what you like to see. Only 30 SCVs remain, and more mutas are going to come forward. The turrets have not been rebuilt, although one is on the way. There's still an opening for BTS to get in there and get a bunch more SCV kills. There goes 3 more. Bit of a misstep there. But the mutas are still looking healthy with only 1 turret attacking them. They can stand and fight for quite a long time. 1 sunken colony going up at the 3rd. I think he's correctly identified that there must be firebats out on the map. There were 2 in the natural. He didn't kill them, and they're not there anymore, so they must be somewhere. By process of elimination, they may be heading towards that 3rd base, and so having the extra sunken colony is a very good move. Not going to tie up a bunch of your units flying around the map trying to find those. Rather, building the single sunken colony will deal with that problem before it ever has a chance to materialize. Or as it materializes, I suppose. That problem will be easily dealt with. Coming into the main now. Could look to open up this area. Has +1 done. And so he's in a good position to start breaking open the turret lines. Unfortunately, loses a muta there as he was trying to pull back. Once you pull back far enough, the turret will reset aggro and you can have another mutalist start tanking. It's not like you're choosing which one's tank, but if one is tanking for too long, resetting that aggro may force the turret to attack a different mutalist, which will save your mutas and eventually allow you to save more mutas over time. Get that ball rolling a little bit better. And so that's what he was trying to do there, but just barely didn't pull out early enough to make that happen. Great pickoffs here as well. He's getting so much damage with each mutalist swipe. He is trading out some mutas for this damage, but back at home, he's added on a ton of drones, and he's kept this marine count pretty low. BTS can push soon, but there's already 2 sunkens, right? 2 sunkens at the natural. You can't push through with this, especially with mutas hanging overhead. If there's another sunken coming up at this 3rd base, it's going to be sitting pretty. 6 hydras on the way. Just needs to buy a tiny bit more time. With 11 mutas, he'll definitely be able to do that based on how he's been playing so far. Very confidently microing these against the Marines of an ASL champion. That is impressive stuff. Taking a good trade is not easy against a bio player like JYJ. He is incredibly competent at holding back mutas, but he's having a hard time dealing with this small muta force out on the map. Not big enough to crush his army, but big enough to be a large hindrance to its path across the map. 35 workers are done. The transition is underway for JYJ, and he'll still have this opportunity, even though he's feeling a bit behind at this point. He's still gonna have a great opportunity to try and break open BTS, but BTS is going to prepare with plenty of time to prepare. He's going to be able to prepare. Oh, wow. Lurker's actually at the front. Might have to picture that. I was not expecting him to come straight up to the front. This is very Jaedong-esque to bring Lurkers out this early and try to get a good trade with them. Try to pick off some of these Marines or force them into an engagement on the other side of the map rather than just sitting at home and setting up a Lurker stack. He's actually getting into a position where maybe he can dive on top of this. It's quite wild how close he's actually getting. If he gets all the lurkers right in front of this natural, oh, the unburrow there is a little bit risky. He is gonna reburrow, and GG is called. Wow, Rush taps out, realizing that defilers were gonna be on the way, and indeed they were. You can see he's building them at the closest possible location, and 2 of them as well. There's just enough irradiate to stop this, but it's unlikely that he would be willing to waste those or use those 2 irradiates on the 2 defilers. Like, you'd have to send out both these science vessels and try to find those 2 defilers, irradiate them before they get to this natural. With the mutas out on the field, still threatening to snipe those down, it's a tough ask, and Rush could see the writing on the wall. He was very far behind, and the lurker stack out in front of his natural is gonna end this game. GG, guys. Let's jump into the next one. Okay, that series between Rush and BTS, not nearly as eventful or as extreme as the games versus JYJ. Bit of a hiccup there. Hope that's not going to continue. It's really going to put a damper on my casting skills. Opening with a pool, overpool, I believe that was, from BTS. He's now going up against Shiny. And our final player of the night for the last game that's coming up next is Light. So stick around for that last game, guys. Shiny, another well-known ladder god. We've played quite a few games on this channel of him in the past. Casted, excuse me, not played. And so he should have something for BTS. He's got to have met him quite a few times on the ladder. Unfortunately, both of them on IDs that are supposedly barcodes. This one is pretty awkward. I don't know what that is. Giving us some sort of a math problem there, it seems like. Although I can't quite decipher it. Was never the best at math, but that doesn't really add up to me. And BTS on a full-on barcode. That's one of the things, like, some people do like this face roll, keyboard face roll, because it's so hard to find a barcode these days, even though it's just a bunch of L's, 1s, and uppercase I's. It's hard to make any barcode accounts because all the names have been taken, all the different combinations have been taken. That's just how dedicated people are to making barcodes and smurfing on the ladder. It is an advantage for your opponent to not know who you are and not be able to look you up. A massive advantage for this game where all players have their own sort of style. And so clearly knowing what your opponent is powerful at, is good at, is going to be awesome. For the player who's able to hide what they're good at, you can get a little bit of an advantage. This is kind of a crazy move out from Shiny. He's sent these Marines all the way across the map against a overpool, which seems wild, but I mean, maybe he can micro this out. It doesn't seem like he's gonna get much value out of these slings. It's like BTS is just handling this perfectly. He did open with the 9 pool, so he's kind of evened out his, or he's kind of got the value out of that investment. Not taking the early hatchery sets you a little bit behind your Terran opponent, who goes for a 1-Rex fast expand, but killing off those extra Marines at the beginning, I'd say he's feeling like that was a pretty worthwhile investment at this point. Academy coming up for Shiny. A drone moving out for BTS, taking his 3rd base. Are we gonna have finally a Hydralis Defiler game? You'll love to see it. That Spire is about to be done, but there's no move out coming. Not yet anyway for Shiny. He's just gonna have to sit back. Just chill, get his turrets up, and try to weather this storm. BTS is gonna have a monstrous number of mutas coming out soon because that's third base will be coming online in no time. And the marine count has been limited so much. And he was forced to pull SCVs to the wall as well. So he has kind of slowed down his own economy on top of losing all of those early marines. So I'm very much liking BTS's position. Let's see how the Mutalist Micro goes. The common theme with most of these strong Zerg players. Doesn't matter if they're ASL champions or just ladder heroes. They tend to have some pretty good Mutalist Micro, but BTS, among the best. Already getting 3 SCVs out of just the first 4 mutas. That's fantastic. We'll rotate over to this natural. Picking off a few more is going to put him into such a solid lead. I'm not sure if there's a way for Shiny to come back. And yeah, he's already lost a good number of SCVs. Do we have a transition point? Not just yet. Opening up the top part of this mineral patch. Only 2 turrets remaining. Can get so much more damage going on this mineral line that Shiny forced to respond. He's got to do something. Of course, he could try to go across the map with his marines and force these Mutalists away. Just with pressure onto the natural. I think he has to do that now. I don't see how he has a choice. The SCVs are gonna have to head home back into the main base, and he can't actually mine at this natural, whereas we're gonna have a third gas online in just a moment. BTS dismantling Shiny, who's had the top ladder position a few times in the past. He has been extremely high on ladder. High on ladder. It sounds like I'm talking about a drug. What's ladder, Timmy? Why are you and your friends doing ladder all of a sudden? A few more SCVs going down. This is painful. 30 SCVs remain. Oh my gosh. This is so much damage now. He's gonna make 5 turrets in the natural. If I'm BTS, I'm laughing. Absolutely hysterical laughter at this point, because you know this is everything that your opponent has. Shiny has nothing aside from this Bioforce. And so all you need to do is crush this and it should be game over. Now there is an opportunity where maybe Shiny can get over here because BTS is transitioning into Lurker. The Lurker is the ultimate shutdown, right? It's kind of the slam dunk. Your opponent has a late factory, a late barracks, has hardly any marines. He spent a ton of money on turrets, while after losing a huge amount of SCVs. And so just having a bunch of lurkers everywhere means that you're going to be completely unharassed. He's not going to be able to break any of your bases with the marines he has out on the field. And you can just sit back, macro, get into your hive, and do your thing. You don't really need to think about what the Terran player is doing at all. And see, he's got lurkers online, so he's going to dive into the main. Have to pick off these turrets. Or marines are going to come up. There's not a lot of Mutalists left, so you'll actually have to back out of this position, but the lurkers are high enough in number with sunken colonies assisting them. There's really no way for Shiny to get in here. He's trying to transition into the starport, but BTS is all over him. Defiler mound on the way, armor coming up. I don't see any more Hydralisk upgrades, so maybe he wants to go for Ultra? Ultra, I suppose? Maybe he's just gonna do a Defiler push. Kill this Bioforce and then go for the Defiler push straight towards the natural. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna see here. 35 workers in total. That's actually too many workers at the natural. It's a shame he didn't transfer some of these over to the third before the Bioforces came. His economy would be a lot better in that case. Has the opportunity to now, but I don't think he has the vision in the bio to make that happen. And it looks like a Marine got canceled right as it popped out the barracks. Something that can happen if you cancel any unit right as it pops out of a Terran building. It will just die rather than, you know, disappear. Kind of a funny quirk of Broodwar. It has to be pixel perfect though to cancel. These mutas looking for even more damage. Like, haven't you done enough? Haven't you done enough? It's time to give this man a break. 2 more hatcheries. We'll be getting into Hydra's range. No second evolution chamber, which is a little bit disappointing, but he does have the +1 attack now coming. Why not get into another evolution chamber? We could have armor on the way too. Science vessels do not have energy for irradiate, so this is just posturing. Posturing by Shiny. Uh-oh. Science vessel. Ooh, great target on that science vessel. You can see that it was the science vessel on the bottom of the stack. He somehow managed to target 3 times. You hit the wrong science vessel the first time. It's kind of what you have to do. Great pull. Okay. Kind of a low HP muta that got targeted there by the science vessel, and the irradiate does hardly any damage. Filer Plague just about done. Lings must have adrenal as well, I imagine. The Hydralisk number is growing. Hydralisk speed on the way. Mass Hydra is coming out from all of these extra hatcheries that have just come online. Lurkers and Plague. There it is. Running forward. Trying to snipe that Defiler, but BTS pulls it back in time. The Lurker number is a little disconcerting at this point for our Terran player, I imagine. This is a problem that doesn't have an easy solution. Just gonna need, yeah, irradiates on these Defilers and, well, good engagements is what it's gonna come down to. He's gotta hit these Lurkers as they're running forward and irradiate each Defiler in turn as it comes out to lay down some Plague. There we go, another Plague. Another science vessel. No, this is one of the same science vessels, unfortunately, for BTS. More and more units coming out. He's actually lagging a little bit in production. Could actually use 1 more hatchery. Maybe even 2 more hatcheries. You gotta be on top of that. It's one thing Shun says a lot, is that as soon as you start to pile up money, as soon as you have enough money to start making hatcheries, you should start making hatcheries. Defiler gets a very nice Plague on this left-hand side. That's all he was looking for. The push forward, taking a little bit of a space on the map is great, but every time he gets one of these Plagues down, it's massive damage. It's killing all the energy out of these medics as well. Yeah, these medics are gonna have no energy in a moment. And then the Hydras kind of just win. They just win fights. Nearly straight up. A lot of Lurkers coming out. That is so many Lurkers, man. Holy crap. That is a ton of Lurkers. Another Defiler bites the dust. And looks like another one will end up falling as well. Pushing forward, trying to snipe down some of these vessels is great. But tanks are incrementing now. Coming out slowly. That is so many Lurkers, man. Holy crap, that's so many lurkers. That's actually too many lurkers at this point. That is like 30 lurkers. That's so many lurkers, guys. Not quite 30, not quite 24, I guess. There's something like 20, 25 lurkers. Oh my goodness. Here comes another wave. More lurkers making their way on top of these tanks. I said the tanks were a problem, but not when you have this many lurkers. Actually needed bio right on top of that to force things back, but even without Dark Swarm, he's able to break this. All he needs is one Defiler to come across this map now. The Marines and Medic are making that a little bit hard. And tanks are getting kills now. Got 5 kills on this tank. A lot of that has to be lurkers. Oh, a drop into the main. Oh boy, this drop could actually do quite a lot. That's a lot of medics though. What on earth? 4 Marines and what is this? 5 medics? Kind of crazy. Oh, a couple of Marines over here in the natural as well. That's a little bit wild. And so he's gonna maybe be able to, oh my gosh. Are these Marines even gonna die? That is so many lings. Eventually they will get cleaned. Quite a few drones went down. 34 remain. So he can definitely keep it up. Keep up his production for now. But that is a big blow. That was a serious blow to the economy for BTS. He's finally gonna send out some Scourge to make sure that doesn't happen again. The dropship is still alive though, and lurkers have been pushed back. That's why I was saying it was probably too many lurkers. Too many lurkers is not good. Can't be making that many, because the tank number as it grows here is just going to wipe those out from range. Tough to take an engagement where you run up on top of tanks and Marines. Tanks and Marines with just pure lurker, it's not a great engagement most of the time. The Marines are going to get out on the map, finding some lurkers over on this left-hand side as well. He's stopped making defilers for a good long time. I'm a little bit surprised about that, but now going to come forward. Here's the Plague. Ooh, the Plague. So brutal. Taking his attention away for just a moment. Eats a dirty, nasty Plague. Do we have a dropship on the map? Was that taken out finally? Seems like it might have gone down. In fact, the Scourge are gone, so I assume it went down. That dropship was key to the victory of Shiny, but I think that with that dropship falling, we're gonna see BTS slowly start to close in on a victory. He's got the 4th gas online over at 6 o'clock. He's making more mutas now, or making 1 muta anyway, probably just to clear out some of these science vessels, these low HP science vessels. Coming forward with the lurkers. Should be able to kill the supply depot at least. A lot of stuff making its way into the middle, and ultras are going to start to come out soon. Has the money to make those, but hasn't delved into it just yet. This Dark Storm is about to run out. Another great Plague there on a bunch of science vessels. Lurkers running forward with some lings. He gets another Dark Swarm even closer to the natural of Shiny. So just keeping them back in this position is putting him into a pretty rough scenario, putting him into a tough spot. This Meta coming forward for the snipes is gonna be such a successful Meta. 3 kills already. Barely manages to keep that alive. Not able to get all of the science vessels, but 3 is definitely worthwhile. Coming in now. Dark Swarm. Great target there on that Defiler with the tanks. Able to prevent more spells from coming out on his units at least. Another Dark Swarm there might have been really painful. He has to keep this tank number high. Everything is banking on this tank force, this tank army. Marines get turned on over the top side of the map, and all of them are gonna end up dying. Oh my gosh. Meanwhile, secondary Marine force makes its way down to 6 o'clock. BTS panicking a little bit. He loses his Defiler. It's headed in this direction, and now Ultras are out. Can they actually save the base, though? Lurkers coming up. Science vessels coming down to get some irradiates going. Unfortunately, that Muta, I think, was lost. Yeah, I'm not sure where the hero Muta is, but it seems to have gone down. He has enough for a Dark Storm, but he doesn't cast it. So BTS faltering just slightly. Will he be able to pull it together in time to stop this attack from going through? Another Dark Storm goes down. Another Dark Storm on top of the tanks. And so he will be able to push the tank forces back a little bit. In fact, 3 end up going down. Meanwhile, Ling counterattack. Over in center left. Gonna take some of Shiny's attention, but is still intent on attacking at bottom center. These Ultras can be brought together. The Ultras in this base really need to be brought forward to help out. Scourge there trying to make some connections, but faltering at the last moment. Now the Defiler, it may end up going down. More Ultras. Is he actually gonna use these Ultras or no? WW. GG is called. And he does end up tapping out. Shiny bites the dust as well. BTS on a spree. Clearing this up with Ultralisk at the end of the day. How are his upgrades? He did finish +5, and he had +2 almost done as well. I suppose Shiny was pretty much mined out in his main and natural, and his third was being harassed. He really wanted to get down and just cut off this base. But I guess the scan in top right notified him that even more locations were coming up for BTS to mine at, and whether he killed this base or not, he realized he wasn't going to be able to win this game. So GG, BTS takes out another strong Terran player. And now for maybe the strongest of the lineup, Light. That's coming up next. Okay, BTS versus Light, as promised. The full series of games from my BTS folder. Newly minted BTS folder, I might add. Yeah, we got to them all today. It's gonna be a pretty long video, so make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. More games and content like this every single day. We got BTS grabbing his natural, and in similar fashion, grabbed it on 11. Will he build another drone? Not this time. So, oh wait, he did build another drone. I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah, he did build that drone. So yeah, interesting. 11 hatch makes a drone, 11 pool, and then 10 gas. Well, that's something, I guess. Something a little different. Feels like you're sacrificing a little bit of economy to get your pool at the same time, but I'm not so sure. I'm not 100%. I'm the type of guy who copies builds, not the one who makes them. Leave that to the professionals. And so we'll see how this one goes. It seemed to be pretty decent in the last game, and maybe that's just because the Mutalisk control was so good. Catches 2 Marines heading across the map. That's a big scout. Revealing how many Marines are coming. He knows what kind of build it is from Light. He knows it's a 1-rax fast expand. He knows that he needs 4 Lings, and so 2 are gonna pop initially. With the SCV there, it gets a little complicated. Oh boy, one drone could go down. Oh, he's really gonna keep these drones alive. Has only 2 links. He's being so greedy here, actually. My gosh, playing with fire. Light poking in again. Finally makes a second set of links, and he starts speed as well. Light just gonna go on back home, or at least group up with this 5th Marine. 5 Marines is when it gets a bit scary. You actually need 6 links to deal with that, and sometimes even more if the micro is good and the SCV body blocking is good as well. So 6 Marines gonna, or 6 lings finally gonna come out. It's not that bad to make 6 lings with a 12 hatch, or I guess in this case an 11 hatch. Truly, it's fine. Those 6 lings are going to be very useful for backstabs when the eventual stim timing comes out. You can see he's already got 8 Marines, and he's just adding on the second racks now. Wow, okay. Bit of an interesting build from Light as well. He's pumped out 8 Marines, but he's not going to be able to make the double medic. Which then I wonder how he's going to play this one. I was going to wait for both medics to be made. It's going to take some time, and so his push out will be a little bit later. Probably after 5 minutes. Maybe he goes with 1 medic. That'll be interesting. If he goes with 1 medic and he only has a medic being made or a firebat out of this, like he's not going to have this done after that medic comes. So yeah, he's only got 1 medic making. The run by could be so good. Oh yes, this run by is devastating. So the build that Light did, having this barracks very late, means he builds 2 medics out of the natural and doesn't have the fire bats on the way, so he's gonna lose so many SCVs. He's slowing down the engineering bay. This is so big. He's killed 3 SCVs on the engineering bay. And so he's slowed that down by a lot. 6 meters are already on the way, 7 meters on the way, and 2 lings in the natural as well. Oh man, BTS is playing this out beautifully. This is fantastic stuff. I mean, not even sending in all the lings initially, sending in the second set of 2 lings after the fact. He did build the double sunken colony, realizing that this is what Light was going for, but he didn't even need them in this game because of what a masterful job he did of running by at the perfect timing there. Just taking full advantage of the small weak point of this build, and already he's killed like 4 SCVs plus a bunch of Marines. So without losing a single muta, BTS is looking great. But is it enough to take down yet another ASL champion? Light is an ASL champion, but even more than that, he is very well respected in the Broodwar scene, in the Korean scene. He kills 3 Mutalists, and so I think he may hold pretty successfully the upcoming pressure. SCP here just watching those creep colonies intently, seeing if they eventually morph into something more. Can also see what's popping under the eggs, which is a bit annoying. And we'll lose that SCV now without getting any kills on these drones, but it's a little bit frustrating to deal with, bringing your mutas all the way back home just to kill that 1 SCV. Doesn't want to make a sunken colony to deal with that though. That would be even more frustrating. All the Marines have moved back into the main because he's skimping on turrets at this position. You can see he's built, what is this, 6 turrets at the natural? I feel like Light's played this guy before. I feel like he's played BTS before, and BTS only sent mutas to the natural. And so he's like, well, yeah, we'll build six turrets there and only 2 in the main and over the barracks. Might be a good idea. He's got to skip something somewhere. He's been losing so many SCVs. It's not looking great. If BTS moves around, if he wraps around at the right time and starts killing off these turrets, it's gonna be bad news bears for Light. He didn't do so right as the Marines were in this corner, in this pocket, trying to defend. So now that they're up on the high ground, it's not as easy. But look, he really wants to go after that. It's such a juicy target. Just kill that one turret and take over the barracks area. We saw how powerful that could be in his game versus JYJ. Might be able to do something similar in this one if Light gets a little bit too out of position. So far, he's been on the ball, though. Plenty of turrets at that base means that BTS can no longer harass that position really effectively without losing too much. Lurker aspect is on the way, though, and the drones are starting to pop. Plenty of drones coming on the side of BTS. And his Mutalisk number is still looking very healthy, with more over at the natural, ready to assist if the time, if the need arises. And I think that we're gonna have a pretty solid game here. We'll see if there's like a sudden push out by Light that just kind of breaks everything. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but it could. Light is very good at getting out on the map and just smashing through at an unpredictable moment. He's only gone for 40, or he's already gone for 42 SCVs, which one of the styles he's most well known for is pausing SCV production at 35 and then just going completely ham on barracks and eventual marine production while going into, you know, drops and tons of science vessels and just pressuring you into oblivion as a Zerg player. But in this game, it's gone much more macro intensive. And so I'm expecting him to push out on the map and put pressure, but then to take a third base, possibly even a fourth, and get really greedy in a moment. We'll see if that's what he wants to do, but with 44 SCVs and more coming out, actually he doesn't have any in production right now, but 44 SCVs, that's quite a bit of economy rolling. Great use of these early lurkers by BTS. Gonna run forward and unfortunately does get one of these sniped. It's a great pick off though for Light. Trading excellently with these mutas though. He's only just now lost one. Using the lurkers as a jumping off point for the mutas to keep pushing this issue. Jumping on top of the medics now. Can he get a good volley on these? Yes, he does. Picking off 2 medics and shoving Light back all the way into his base. This is going fantastically well for BTS, but it could go bad at any second. Oh my gosh, he's gonna take this fight. A lot of the damage going onto the mutas from these marines, so the lurkers survive and they get their volleys off. Having on top of the science vessel, can he actually get it? 16 health on that. So darn close. Immediately starts his consume after the Defiler Mound finishes. Are we going to see a similar end to this game as we saw earlier with just a lurker wall in front of the natural and the Terran player unable to push out until Defilers come across the map and end him? That may be the case. A Nidus is already getting connected over to the third. And so he's got easy traversal back and forth between these bases. And a lot more lurkers moving out as well. It'd be very nice to have... Oh, BTS. You god. I didn't even get the words out of my mouth, and he's already got the Scourge there, ready to defend this. More lurkers are going to come up. Oh god, these lurkers were not burrowed. Dude, if these lurkers were burrowed in that wall, in that line, he could have easily stopped this, but Light hit the perfect timing right as those were getting prepared. Oh, BTS, no. Is he actually going to be able to hit this from an angle? A great move by Light to get out over on this side and try to hit that from a bit of an angle to where the spines are not going to deal as much damage. But now the lurkers are getting on top of this. Everything going to die. Some irradiates go down. Got to pull this out. Pull it out. Pull it out. Oh, losing quite a bit there. And in fact, most of these mutas are badly damaged. He needs to make a line. He needs to make a line now. Oh my gosh, is Light actually going to be able to get out of this? is wiggling his way out of such a dirty position. Oh, boxering it, but he's just not quite able to. Okay, he does get that. Able to kill those two. Very important lurker kills there. Now with a pretty good line. Still a few lurkers off to the side. In kind of a rough position. Lings are at the front. Here we go. Heart is probably pounding at this moment as he comes forward and gets the final Dark Swarm down in front of the Natural of Light. And BTS, I'm tripping all over myself. BTS takes this game home. Wow. Able to take out 2 ASL champions in this series. BTS is showing some very high-level Starcraft out on the ladder, but will he be able to translate that into some future tournament play? That's what remains to be seen, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one.